All right. Heidi and Dan. Heidi and Dan, you guys are a couple. You are married?
Yes.
Yep.
And you guys are from Fond Du Lac, Wisconsin.
Yes,
Yep.
we are.
Today's our 18th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
So you're a rarity on my channel. You are foster parents who are not monsters.
No, we are not.
Yes, no monsters. We hear a lot of stories of them,
Yeah.
but hopefully you'll hear our
Hopefully we
story.
can dispel some of that.
Yeah.
You have adopted how many kids?
We adopted one out of foster care, Allie, and then we adopted Rocky out of the Congo. So, and then
That was
we
international adoption, and then we have 2 foster children right now that we are adopting very shortly.
April 11th.
That's great.
Yeah,
And
we're excited.
we'll meet them at the end here. They're all
Yes.
Yep.
very happy, healthy kids, it seems.
Yes.
What got you started in wanting to be foster parents?
The driving force was definitely Heidi. She grew up in a family that was had foster children in it. I grew up more of in a just traditional small family. My brother and
Nuclear.
myself. Heidi had more brothers and sisters and just had more of a full house. So shortly after we got married, she talked about wanting to start a foster family of her own, our own.
Yeah. And really, the main reason that we got into foster care is we were going to adopt. And so we went and we didn't want to do international or domestic adoption. So we wanted to adopt, so we went into, it was called special needs adoption, because we wanted to adopt an older child in the United States. And we never got a placement. I mean, it took, and then finally when we did get a placement, it was kind of a foster care placement.
Right.
And we didn't understand how all that worked, and we never got a placement. So we took these 2 children in, and I think that's how kind of we started.
Yeah, we took 2 children in as foster children, assuming, and you never are promised that you will be able to adopt them, because the goal is always placement back with the parents.
Reunification.
But it sounded pretty good, like we'd be able to adopt them, and that fell through. So we got very disheartened with that.
And then we adopted Rocky.
But once we had started with the foster care, we stayed with it just because we enjoyed it, not so much as a way to adopt, but a way to help out. And then we did go international to get Rocky from the
And some of your kids are special needs?
Most of them, yeah, foster kids are generally special needs, to say the least, but usually very emotional needs. So we've had some with physical needs. Ari,
Well, I think Allie, though, he's probably talking
Yeah.
about Allie with, she's cognitively
delayed.
disabled, and we adopted her when
She was a foster child.
Yeah, when she was 11. So
It takes a special person to take on these challenges, right?
That one took a while, though. I don't want to make it sound like it was, she came in around Christmas time, I remember, and Heidi says, hey, Heidi happened to be the teacher at the school where Allie was, and she says, I know she's special needs, but I don't think she's, really,
Change your diaper.
needing medical attention, like nurses and things like that. And I said, let's just hang off. We already had a couple foster children at the time. I was not so much on board. I was more like, we already have foster children, so why don't we just kind of focus on that instead of bringing in more? And then Heidi's like, oh, all right. I'm sure she'll be, grabbed up by somebody else, and she wasn't. And
They kept calling.
They kept calling, and Heidi checked with her teacher that she was working with special needs and said, hey, she's a really great kid. Just background is the same as always, drugs. It's always drugs and things like that.
Her parents.
So we took her
yeah,
in.
the parents, yeah.
Yeah, the parents. And probably the irony in Allie is, Heidi is really always the driving force in all of our placements, and kind of looking at backgrounds and things like that and checking with social workers. But really, I was probably the one who, once we had Allie a year or two, I'm like, yeah, we need to adopt her.
Yeah, he fell in love with Allie, and
She's a silly heart like I am, and
She's goofy.
She's goofy. She's So it's just we would have never met. I would have never met her if it wasn't for Heidi, and then we just ended up
Once these kids
adopting.
come into your life, do you fall in love with them like you would your own?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do. My whole heart is boom. It's not right away, though. So, like, when the children come in, I have to, like, starting to get to know them. But, I mean, into a week or two, I'm loving on them. When they come in, though, it's instant mom and dad. We are mom and dad. They're hugging us. They just have no boundaries. And sometimes and I'm a loving person, but it kind of, like, puts me back a little bit, like, calling me mom right away. And, like, my kids would never do that. They would be scared going into a placement. And these kids come in, and they're all over me.
So do you have kids of your own?
Yes. We have Hunter. He is 29, and Summer is 28, and she has a daughter. So we have a granddaughter.
Yep.
And then the adopted kids are the ones that you saw out here. So, yes. So we have a pretty big family.
It's interesting to see these kids who probably have a very, very tough upbringing until you come into the picture, and they just take to you so quickly because
they just notice right away that this is something they've been missing. It doesn't fix anything or anything like that, but our house is a mansion to them, which it certainly is not.
That's the last place that we had. That's what he's like. Oh my gosh, this is a mansion. I could get lost. It's really not a big house at all. 4 bedrooms.
And just having dogs and
sitting down for suppers.
Having beds. That's a number one thing is beds. They get their own. They could share a room, but just having their own bed is just.
But it's got to be a wonderful feeling.
It's magic
to be stepping in and saving this person's life.
Oh yeah.
I love that. And that was just one of the things to me. I was really surprised when I became a foster parent, how many kids out there don't have beds. I never realized that. For us, like you and I, we just take that for granted, like a bed, and I don't know. I would say 98% of the kids that came with us never had a bed and no routine. They just sleep
on the floor, have cereal and sleep on the floor.
Yeah, ramen noodles and
Those are always
cereal.
the things, ramen noodles, cereal,
Yeah.
and just passing out on the floor.
They don't like home cooked meals. So when I make a home cooked meal, I'm really excited to share my, I don't know, just a simple dish. We make a lot of casseroles because it has to go a long way. And they don't like it. They like McDonald's processed. I love processed. If I buy processed, it's gone right away. The home cooked meals are Allie. Still
to this day.
To this day. And
she's almost 20.
Yeah, she's almost 20. She does not like home-cooked meals.
Really?
Nope.
I don't know if that will ever change.
Yeah, we've had her longer than we haven't had her. And she's just still that way.
Ramen noodles.
And I always joke about this, but it's really true. After 15 years of doing this, I don't want to categorize them all, but it's all like condiments. They'll take some junky food and just throw condiments on it. Wherever we go, you would think that they'd be take what you get and go, and it's got to be. They spend so much time on condiments on everything.
And what's your attitude on that? Because the nutritional value of
yeah, we have to. At first I think we're pretty easy on that, but I mean they would mayo and mustard and ketchup
sour
and ranch.
Oh,
ranch
we don't have ranch in our house.
Ranch on pizza, ranch on stuff that doesn't even I wouldn't associate with ranch.
Yeah, we don't.
It's cover everything up. I don't know if that's what the reason is, if that's just to make something palatable or if it's to just make something more filling. But I've just noticed that foster kids in general are condiment.
Well, it says a lot about the background they came from, and what kind of food they eat, and what kind of parenting they had.
Right.
Oh yeah, and that's something with the littles that we have right now. The 2 little kids, they see them put all those condiments on everything, so then they want it. We're like, no,
What were the backgrounds of the kids that you adopted?
That we're going to adopt, or that we have?
No, going to adopt.
The 4 that you have here.
It was pretty horrific.
Well, first of all, they were a family of what, 5?
5. We took all 5 in. And the little boy, that we have right now, he was born on December 31st. And they found him in a box outside in the freezing cold weather. Someone took him to the hospital, and he was in ICU for 2 weeks. He has respiratory issues for the rest of his life. The little girl that
He's a ray of sunshine.
Oh yeah, he's a ray of sunshine. Yeah. The little girl that we have, and this is how they went into care. They were at a doctor's appointment or something, and the dad took his belt off and was just like beating her right in the doctor's office, waiting room. You know, she is the sweetest girl ever. I mean, she's amazing.
This is Allie?
No,
Maisie,
this is
the
Maisie.
two that we're gonna...
Oh, the one, oh, she's not here.
No, Maisie's here.
Oh, Maisie's the small one.
Yeah, the small one.
I got it.
This is when she was, we've had him for 6 years. This is when she was 2 years old, and he just like, right in front of people, you know? It's like it wasn't even a secret. They went into a foster home, and what had happened is they were from Milwaukee, and the parents would go to this foster home, and I guess the dad took a gun to one of the foster homes. So they got them out of that foster home, and then we became an undisclosed location. But again, anyone can find us. Look up our name. You know, he could find us. So because they didn't want him coming by our house. But we're a distance away from them. All these kids have such emotional issues, the older ones especially. It's just really, it's so sad. They're such good kids, but just have a lot of emotional issues.
Which I'm always impressed that they handle things the way they do. I mean, it's under, I don't know your background, but I mean, it's just, I can almost say they've been under more trauma and things than all of us put together. And to be at a young age and then come into a house with, you know, this big bald guy that's strange and
Scared.
This lady who is really, really nice and always hugging me, and then an African-American, you know, a teenager, which is our son, and we have a cognitively delayed daughter who tends to be, you know, really silly and stuff, and we've got 3 dogs. You know, that's a lot to handle. And they just walk right in, hug you, and hey, Mom and Dad, how are you doing?
But I also want to say, all the foster kids that come to our house, they're used to chaos. You know, like we get questions, why don't you have any of your friends stay overnight? Well, we don't have friends. You know, they're used to people coming in and out.
We have friends, but when our friends come over, they leave.
Yeah, they don't.
And they're really confused by that. They're just used to when a friend comes over, they stay overnight, they stay for a month, you know, couch surfing.
Yeah.
And they're just confused on how we'll introduce them to somebody and say, hey, this is my friend so-and-so. They're going to have supper with us tonight, or we're going to go out in the backyard and have a fire, or we're going to go downstairs and watch a little TV. And like, okay. And then they leave, you know, later on in the evening. Oh, what happened? Well, nothing happened. They're going home.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are, I look at how they love drama, like Allie to this day. I think there's so much chaos in their life that they just look for that. Not all of them, but some of them just love the drama, the chaos. So if there's something going on, they're all in the mix.
Rocky, our son from Africa, is by far the exception to that. He is not he's like me, he is not a drama guy at all, which I don't understand because, you know, coming from the Congo in Africa, he's got a lot of things that he could have trauma about, but other than that, yeah, that's when especially the girls get to be teenagers, it's drama.
I've heard so many stories of people I've interviewed who grew up as foster kids, and these are horror stories.
They are.
I think you guys are a rarity.
It is so sad when I hear those stories. I'm sorry, I could break down and cry. I don't understand why foster parents become foster parents if you don't want to love these kids.
What do you think that's all about?
Because you don't make a lot of money.
You know, I really don't know.
I don't
you
know
know, in
either.
our
It's just
community,
sad.
we have a city of about a little under 50,000 people. The foster parents there, we go through a private agency, but you know, the people who work for the city agency, I mean, you know, in my experiences with them, are nice people and good, forthright people. We have, working through our agency, it's an expectation, but it's also something that we do personally, doesn't matter who we're working for, is we are going to treat you as one of our own. If our kids have Nike shoes, you're going to get Nike shoes.
If we go on a trip,
If we go on a trip,
they go on a trip.
everybody goes on a trip.
I'm not going to get respite because we get how
Yeah.
many respite days a month. I'm not going to put our foster kids
Yeah.
in respite while we go and have this great vacation. Now, I'm not saying
we're not knocking on anybody that
on
does.
other people that puts their kids in. That's their life. But when they come into our life, we love them. Sometimes we're better on the foster kids. I think sometimes we're harder on our own kids. We have expectations. So I feel
But they also had a more privileged upbringing, perhaps.
yes. Oh, definitely.
So
yeah.
they maybe can handle
Yes.
a little less.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, just like grades, we're going to be harder on grades with Rocky, our son, compared to we have a 15-year-old boy at home that we're going to be hard on him. We don't know what his background was. If he gets D's or C's, just graduate. That's just get your diploma. So that's really.
And I think, though, too, that all stems from Heidi and I taking it a step further than maybe it needs to go, because really, as a foster parent, number one is safety. Make sure that the foster kids are safe. And that's really the big expectation. Don't put them in harm's way for their sake or for your sake. But we really can't just, especially Heidi, can't just leave it at, okay, you're safe, that's good enough. We're going to teach you things. We're going to take you on experiences, and nothing always has to cost money. Mm-hmm. We go to parks. We go to fairs. We go to
Fishing.
Fishing. It's fishing.
Bike riding.
Fishing is a big one. Boys and girls, when we have foster, they just love it. And I don't think it's necessarily fishing, but just being out, doing something, having someone teach you something. I know when I go and split firewood, they love that. And, it's not work, it's not anything, it's just like, wow, I am doing what I can't believe I'm doing this.
Well, we also had 15 and 16-year-old come to our house, and, they don't ride bikes. None of them have bikes. We had to teach them, our 15 and 16-year-old, how to ride a bike. And going back, I know your question was these foster parents, and I'm saying to you right now, if people don't want to foster, then don't foster. Because I cannot understand how these kids have been treated.
I suppose if you went bare minimum and you
maybe
bought them secondhand shoes and a few pairs of clothes and really went cheap depending upon where they live, maybe they could make a few $100 a month or something like that and put that in their pocket. I'm not saying that's why some foster parents would do that. I've heard that, foster parents just doing it for the money. I guarantee it costs us more than what we get from it. So for us, if you're talking money, it's a losing proposition.
You guys are probably in a different
It's a losing
level.
proposition.
Yeah, I think those families are probably living on the edge of poverty.
Probably. So if they really could make $200, $300, $400 a month off of fostering, maybe that's, those kinds of families that you hear more negatively about.
And what I don't understand is if these kids are in these awful homes, where are the social workers? I blame them. Get them out of there. Because I have seen some foster kids that haven't been in the greatest homes. I know one boy came up to me and all he got was $5 for his birthday from his foster parents, but yet the other kids got presents and stuff like that. This past year for Bubba's birthday, we didn't want presents. He just asked for his friends to come and donate money to the foster closet. So we got all these donations to help the foster closet. They don't need any more toys. The kids don't even play with toys anymore. But we honestly go broke. We're in debt. We are in debt because of foster care. I mean, Dan gets frustrated because I do buy them clothes. I do buy them things.
Well, it's not buying clothes. It's if I clean somewhere I don't normally clean and I see toys upon toys upon toys and clothes upon clothes, I'm like, where did this come from?
I just feel bad.
It's kind of a running joke. It's not really being mad about it, but
no, he's not.
That's where all the money goes.
No, but having kids in the house is expensive.
It is very expensive.
But we do have a guardian angel that sometimes helps us out once in a while, and I love her to death. And, she can see it's how difficult it is for us. And she'll once in a while help us out, like during the holidays or something. And
Or you're doing something that's going to change these kids' lives.
that's what she says. And she always says it's God's money. And it's not for her to keep. So then because I feel guilty, I'm a giver. And I don't know what your personality is like. I have a hard time taking things. Like if someone comes up to me, I have a really hard time taking a gift. I struggle when she helps me, but I love to give gifts. Like if I was a millionaire, I would be broke because I would give it away. And I look at, that's why I fell in love with you, Mark, is how giving you are, because that's exactly how I am.
Well, it makes you happier.
It does.
It's not like I'm doing it because I'm such a nice guy. I just recognize that doing that helps me
Yeah.
personally. It's like it makes you feel better about yourself,
It
which makes it
does.
easier for you to give, and it just feeds on itself in this positive way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are thinking in the exact opposite. They're like trying to get more, which makes them miserable, and it makes them
Yeah.
want more.
Isn't that the
And
truth?
it feeds on itself negatively.
Yeah, and I'd give the shirt off my back for anyone. I really would. I would help. I mean, we have a foster son that's in jail right now. He's not with us anymore. He left us. And, he's calling me, can I have money? Can I have money? So I helped him out a little bit. I probably shouldn't. He's in jail, but I feel so bad. I'm their only mom. Like, they have nobody. And that's another thing I want to talk about being in foster kids. Like, if you were taken into foster care when you were a little boy, you would have went to your aunts or your uncles or a friend these people have nobody, and that just breaks my heart.
We're always the last line of defense. Social workers, police, all those people that are involved when they take a child away from a bad situation always look to keep a family member, the kids with a family member. And we are just always floored that they came to us. That means that there wasn't any family member on both mom or dad's side that either wanted them or could pass a background check or a simple thing like a drug screen or looking back at, police records. I can't fathom that. I could think, if we made bad decisions right now and kids got taken away, they would be able to go to my brothers, or even my parents or her parents or sister or brother. There'd be plenty, cousins. There's so many places that kids could go in our family. And it just floors me that it's like, wow, they're in foster care because they have nobody that either wants them or can legally have them. And that after 15 years still gets me.
Is it difficult for you guys, like with your biological children? I assume they're thriving and doing fine in life. When you see a foster kid that you raised and you're trying to do your best to help them, but they still end up in jail or they end up struggling in life once they're
I'm
out.
going to say when they come to our house, we really try. We hope that we can make a difference. I think when they're older and they're in our house, they want to be that family. They love the family. I had one foster child when she was talking to her friends. She's like, I'm talking with my family now. Like they're so proud of it. But they leave our house, they go back to what they know the best.
All we can control is that year, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, is make it the best for them that they can, give them as many tools as they can to go out and thrive. And if they take that, great. And if they don't or revert or whatever it is, that's beyond our control.
No, but when they're in that situation and they need money, which they always do, what do you do then, Heidi?
There's some that do come for me for money. Now, we also have a foster child that still loves us that's in another state, and she went back with her mom, and they don't have the money like we have. Not that I think we have a lot of money, but she needed school clothes or she needs clothes. We'll buy her school clothes. I will help them out as much as I can.
Yeah, it all takes money.
It takes money, and and sometimes, I just kind of, I have my own, I have a little business I do on the side, and I have my own spending money in there, which is not very much, but I'll take it out of there because we really can't take it out of our account.
Do you feel like, so you're empty nesters if it wasn't for all these adopted kids, right?
Yeah.
We'd be close.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you would
we'd
be
be
free
close.
to take vacations, do
That's
whatever you want with your
difficult.
life.
Yep.
But you're encumbered with all these young kids, do you sometimes wonder if you're making a mistake or?
I don't think it's ever do we wonder about making a mistake, but I will be honest, I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm looking forward to a time when it can be just Heidi and I, and we can take a trip, just Heidi and I.
We have never done that.
Again, we've never done that, ever, since we've been married.
We don't get away on weekends.
Well, so I do look forward to that, but in saying that, I don't wish anything away right now. I don't wish we didn't have the foster children we have right now. I don't wish that we wouldn't have adopted, the kids that we have adopted.
We wouldn't be good parents.
Yeah, no. So I'm glad where we are, but I do look forward to the time, when it can be just us.
You guys have very big hearts.
Thank you.
And when you say that too, from my viewpoint, I feel sometimes I do, and I'm saying we both do 50-50. I do a lot more than Dan does with the kids. And sometimes I would like to have that more time with Dan. I always say, I want more time, but I'm not going to say I regret with the kids but I miss the time that we could sometimes just be alone and have time. It's been difficult sometimes in our marriage too. We don't see eye to eye,
It's
and
not always
we
easy.
have to give up a lot.
And we really are lucky if we get a 2-hour date night.
Oh,
Once,
calling
twice
us.
a month, maybe.
they're calling us.
Yeah, and even when we have that, we're getting called, which is, not, I don't want to put that in a bad light either. I'd rather have them call and ask a question about something than not. But so there's a price to pay as well. And I'm not saying that that's a bad price, but there is a price to pay.
Just during this interview, I'm surprised no one has knocked on the door because we just don't get that time ever. It's our 18th wedding anniversary, and we're always with the kids.
Really? Yeah, here you are on your 18th anniversary. and
Yeah.
Yep.
You've got a whole entourage.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more question, then we'll bring your kids out. What would you say you've learned from all this experience with foster kids?
I know what I've learned. I think that we're blessed for what we have. And it's not only the foster care, but going to Africa and things like that. I think that, we have so much, and these families, and the love. I think a lot of them haven't been loved unconditionally. And I know you talked about that with your mom. My mom had passed too. She is the one that loved me unconditionally. And I will always love those kids unconditionally. And and I think they have a hard time accepting that.
They're just not used to it.
Yeah, and I'll say to them, even if you do something wrong, I still love you. I would never not love you. Yes, I'm disappointed. I am all this, but I am always going to love you, and I'm always going to be there. And I just think that we're lucky that we have felt that unconditional love. Dan, I feel, really loves me unconditionally.
Love like that, especially for a young kid, is the most powerful force in the world.
I agree. These kids, that's what I learned.
I would say resiliency. It always does still catch me about how these kids have awful lives, which we aren't even necessarily privileged to know all the background information, but the information we do get or we do find out or we do learn, it's amazing that the children act as well as they do or are as receptive to certain things or new ideas or new people as they are. And it just kind of shows me that in most cases, I would say, the kids want to do well.
They do.
They want
their heart's in the right place.
It's in the right place. They want to please. That doesn't necessarily always come out, and you're like, "Oh, this kid's really trying to please me," because there may be broken. We went through a span where we probably went through 3-4 flat screen TVs within a couple months, and it's hard to see then that this child is trying to be good. And I tend to, on a negative note, judge a little bit quicker than I should. So it's taught me to kind of step back, look at their background, not really as making an excuse for things, but looking at their background saying, okay, this has got to figure into the equation. How can we work with that instead of judge it and throw it off to the side?
Shall we bring your kids out?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's bring them out.
Oh, wow.
All right, so who do we have here?
Maisie?
Maisie, because she's amazing. So,
So you're Maisie,
yeah.
Maisie, and this is Bubba.
Bubba.
And this is Rocky to my right, your left. And
Our soccer player,
And Allie is to my right.
Allie, our funny girl.
Yep, we were talking about your silliness. You're like me.
Yeah.
You guys, would you say your mom and dad are good parents for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a good time in their house?
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of craziness, action.
It sounds like everybody's really happy and
I hope.
Yeah.
Rocky,
love.
you're not saying much. Are
Oh,
you happy?
I thought it was.
I'm kidding.
It's a lot of chaos.
Not everybody's comfortable on camera.
Yeah.
A lot of
I get that.
It's a lot of chaos, a lot of hectic times. There are some tears, there is some shouting, there is all that, but there's love behind it all, and it always comes back to that.
And there's a lot of love in our family.
That's beautiful. All right, you guys, thank you so much.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
You were good.
Beautiful story.
Thank you.